opportunity. And right now, we're at such early stages. We're 2, 3 years into understanding how these technologies impact our work. And that's why, kind of going back to that first point, is if you understand how to use AI, if you just lead with that curiosity, you will start to discover how you can start to change your job and how you can start to change teams of jobs. And so things like curiosity, problem solving, empathy, those are the type of skills that will endure, but also hard skills. One of the interesting things is some people think that this will take away from engineering jobs, but we actually see greater demand for software engineering. We also see that skills like Python are still very much in demand. So we will see many types of things, and ultimately, these are some of the choices we need to make as leaders on how we redesign work.
Interesting. And what about quickly for children that are in school right now? Are they going to be learning different skills? I mean, school seems like it's going to change. Even, and you think about liberal arts degrees or different types of degrees, that's going to evolve too.
AI won't take your job,
yes,
y'all.
And some of that we don't fully know, but
AI won't take your job.
Will be very enduring. Empathy, problem solving, both a soft skill and a hard skill. Those are things that you can learn through very traditional subjects. Being a philosophy major in college, being an English literature major, but also being a math major. So learning things like logic, learning how to connect ideas, learning how to think through critical thinking. So those are some of the core tenets for our kids in grammar school and in colleges. And so those things don't go out of fashion. Now, how you apply what you learn in school may very well change, and we may see different types of opportunities. You know, one thing that's really interesting is that a lot of people focus on, it's kind of fancy word, cognitive, the intellectual skills. But also we see that physical job opportunities are changing. With AI, we see an incredible demand for data centers and infrastructure, and that's bringing in more jobs for electricians, for welders, and different types of physical tasks. So what you learn in school, you might take that in many different directions across your time as a professional and in your career.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Thank you so much, Lorena Yee. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Jessica.
You've heard about hybrid cars. What about hybrid planes? The electric company hoping its planes are the future of flight, and that someday they might even replace many taxi cabs. The startup says its aircraft can get you there twice as fast as a commercial plane and are best for short hops. CNN's Jim Sciutto went for a ride.
What if you had a plane that could take off and land in a space not much bigger than your backyard? I got to see for myself.
Wow, that was quick.
It's pretty fast.
This is Electra's Ultra Short, meant to compete in the new flying car craze. That is a relatively cheap-to-operate aircraft that can get you from pretty much anywhere to pretty much anywhere else.
And we can save them half the time, right? I mean, half the time you spend in a commercial airplane or on the road or in a train, this will get you there twice as fast.
How does it work? The science is pretty crazy. Its 8 electric motors don't just move the plane forward, they generate their own airflow over the wings, which, in the physics of flight, then generates their own lift for the aircraft.
You experience something that very few people have experienced. The airplane is going super slow. The wing thinks it's going super fast because we're just accelerating all of this air over it. And then some really unique design structures just rises right up. So the wing just lifts the airplane up at about 150 feet of ground roll.
You create your own lift.
You create your own lift, and then you just fly on that lift like an airplane.
Because the plane creates its own lift, we took off at just about 30 miles an hour, about the speed of a racing bicycle. Something of a nod to the bicycle-building Wright brothers, who invented the world's very first flying machine. From the air, you get the feeling of floating, sort of like taking a ride on a drone.
He's a little bit unsettled. You got 27 minutes at Tyler Roger Crosby.
Yeah, little nose down, actually.
Plus, it's a hybrid with turbo generator charging batteries that run the prop, sort of like a flying Prius. And less fuel means a lower cost per mile than helicopters and many flying cars. The idea of the Ultra Short is to solve another problem with many flying cars. While they can take a passenger or two, the Ultra Short can take multiple passengers and cargo, and go as much as 10 times as far, about 250 miles. Electra already has more than 2,000 planes ordered, mostly from airlines and the U.S. military, with even the ambition to replace the military's workhorse transport helicopter, the Black Hawk.
A lot of military applications, because the military has the same problem we all have. They need to go from where they are to where they want to go. And imagine a bombed out runway. How do you get an airplane in with fuel, with munitions, supplies, food, spares? You can't. And if you're in the ocean, you can't take a helicopter hundreds of miles. This airplane flies like an airplane, arrives like a helicopter. That bombed out runway, no problem.
The $10 million price tag for the larger commercial model means most of us can never dream of owning one. But for the military, airlines, and other transport companies, perhaps a new taxi for the skies.
That's the idea of direct aviation. That's the new era of air travel.
Jim Sciutto, CNN, somewhere over Manassas, Virginia.
Who will be the